Welcome to episode 2 of April Anger. We're going to start off with Mii Brawler against Shulk. Alright, looks like we're going to be on the Animal Crossing stage. This is the Animal Crossing City Folk, not to be confused with Town and City. Sorry, this is the Smashville stage, not to be confused with Town and City. Alright, Shulk trying to throw out some large aerials, and just none of them are working out that well. Gets caught by the ledge, he's in jump Monado, that means he gets back easier, but he did get sent farther because he got hit while he was in jump. As a general rule for all of Shulk's different Monado, oh, that's not going to kill, but it got close. All of his different Monado, they give him an increased characteristic and a decreased characteristic. The first two, jump and speed, are mobility, so the natural counterbalance is that you take more damage or knockback. At the moment, I can't remember which one is which. But when you think about it, taking more damage will also increase your knockback taken. So they both kind of happen to balance out like that. In fact, all of Shulk's Monado, except for Shield, I believe, actually do increase knockback as an end result. Some of them do it by increased damage, some of them do it by increased knockback. Or I guess you could say by also reducing his weight. But the Monado is a very powerful move in this game, so it is often worth it. As you can see, getting forward smash from the wrong end of the stage while in jump Monado was able to end Shulk's life for the second time. He gets a spike, doesn't get the right hitbox, but he still gets a kill. That's really going to help Shulk catch up. The amiibo doesn't usually tend to, first of all, use the Monado perfectly, but also they don't usually use it as some sort of like crazy swing factor, where you activate it at the right moment and you claim an early stock to get you back in the game. Mostly the amiibo just seems to use Monado whenever they feel like it, which is a shame, but it would be incredibly difficult to program when would and would not be an appropriate time to use all the different Monado effects. Getting hit by a point-blank shot put. Shulk's able to make it back. He's in jump Monado. It actually increases the range of his uppy recovery special as well. Jump Monado specifically, I mean, not the general Monados. Mii Brawler with a fantastic tech at the ledge, able to trade a hit with Shulk. Shulk goes for a counter, did not land. Mii Brawler's sharking for that, apparently an uppy. I was expecting an up smash. Didn't get it. And they traded something, and that took Shulk out of the tournament. Which means you get to see this face for longer. For our next fight, we have Chrom against Richter. Looks like we're going to be on Smashville again, really emphasizing the fact that I'm recording this on a Saturday night between the hours of, I believe it's 7 and 10 when KK Slider can appear in the normal games. This does, of course, depend on which game you're playing. Some of them might have different time periods for his appearances. I know that in general, they added a couple extra special events where you can just see him in person when it's not Saturday night. But I will say that there was something special about the mysterious musician showing up with 1 out of 50 songs you needed to collect once a week. Anyways, back to the tournament. Chrom was able to recover on the stage. I was a little worried he was going to try to go off stage and recover. Chrom is a character who has a recovery off stage, and it's not bad. However, it can be incredibly punishing. So he has a good airspeed, which lets him get to the stage, and he has ether, which lets him, it has a good vertical recovery, and especially for the amiibo, every time he whips it, there's a chance he'll use the spike hitbox to kill an opponent. However, he can get hit out of it very easily, and he doesn't have any other recovery options, so he needs to use ether. So it can be incredibly punishing if you do it wrong. Richter getting a drag down, it wasn't able to get Chrom, and it was actually pretty risky for Richter himself, but it looks like he was able to make the whole situation work out. Didn't even take damage. Now he's taking damage, but that's still at a pretty good spot to be at. Richter's up B is definitely one of his fastest just options in general, especially out of shield or when you don't think your other moves are going to be fast enough. See, right there, Richter's neutral air doesn't normally combo into that many things. However, he was able to combo it into his up B. It does deal about 14% damage, so it can, you know, start piling up the damage. Most opponents aren't going to be getting hit by like 9 of them in a row. However, if they were to, then they would have a lot of percentage to show for it. Oh, Richter went for a down throw there. Normally you'd want to go for a back throw. Richter's back throw isn't actually that bad at all. It's not exactly what you'd call a kill throw, but it sends people far enough that it can lead to their death. Richter's finally decided to use his long-range smash attacks, boomerang for good measure, and more smash attacks. And Chrom is just kind of getting punching bag. Oh, Chrom with a combo of his own. Great to hit, and then he starts charging up a long neutral B. That is unfortunate. Chrom's neutral B and Roy's as well. They're off stage, and oh, nobody dies. Chrom's neutral B in general, the best time to use it is when you can get a shield break on the opponent, because if you can charge it up to full, it is practically a guaranteed kill. And Chrom just got the spike hitbox on Ether, killing Richter when he was just trying to recover. That's going to bring him to round 2. Up next, Duck Hunt against Link. Both of these characters are very projectile focused. Looks like we're going to be on Final Destination, so they shouldn't have a hard time getting their projectiles to hit. However, that being said, projectile characters often have a hard time dealing with other projectile characters, simply because they cannot put their opponent into a range. Oh wow, Duck Hunt actually was able to get that gimp. They cannot put their opponent into a range where their opponent can't hit them, but they can hit their opponent. Since they both have long range, it's practically undoable. I'm sure that whoever has the longest range projectile will have a chance to do it. But in general, it's really hard to camp out an opponent who can camp you back. Link going off stage. Duck Hunt also recovering. That's a little surprising. Sometimes you gotta take what you can get when it comes down to the amiibo. Some of the amiibo have just a very hard time recovering correctly. Not to say that recovering is an exact science. Anything you do in this game can be debated to be optimal or not. Link with a very early air dodge, Duck Hunt was able to stuff it out. And unfortunately for Link, his recovery actually put Duck Hunt right back on the stage. So he got to have his cake and eat it too. He got to edge guard and then ledge trap. And Link just pulled out a taunt. That's something you really hope you don't see in the main tournament, but it is something that we have to deal with from time to time. You can actually tell on the player select screen that Link has not been retrained yet. Not every amiibo with a neutral type has been retrained. However, any amiibo that gets retrained is given the neutral type to eventually get rid of all the type matchup shenanigans. And Duck Hunt with a taunt of his own. That is not a good sign for any of the entrants in this battle. Duck Hunt is throwing his projectiles where Link isn't, and also where Link is not going to be. He does get a boot to the head and dies for it eventually, but unfortunately he's not going to learn. Also, strangely enough, he didn't tech there. Usually Amiibo rarely miss their techs once they're full level. Link air dodging through that can, I would not have thought to do it. I probably would have gotten hit by it, but I suppose he could have also hit the can away with his neutral air. Link's neutral air is actually a pretty good move, especially because Link has a very fast fastball speed. It's actually specifically faster than most other characters' fastballs by a percentage. Not to say that he is the fastest faller in the game, however, his speed when fast falling is faster by a larger amount compared to his non-fast falling fall speed. But when you combine that with neutral air, it means you can sort of just land right on top of opponents. Alright, well, I see a lot of projectiles, but I don't see a lot of damage happening. And Link jumps right into the can. I know that sometimes when I play Duck Hunt, it can be, I would say, infuriating when you're trying to get enough distance to safely deploy a can, but the opponent keeps getting hit by it. Obviously, you are still happy that they got hit by the can. That is the end goal of the move, after all. Link gets an edge guard, but Duck Hunt's recovery is too good. He's going to be able to make that back. Duck Hunt gets caught jabbing the wrong way, so Link back rolls into where the jab was covering to use his own jab. That is not normally the correct response. Normally we would want to smash attack them behind. However, it worked out. Link's got an arrow charged. I suppose trying to snipe a jump get up is a near impossible feat, and Duck Hunt's up air is able to kill Link. It is a strong move. That brings us to Bayonetta against Diddy Kong. This brings me back to Smash 4. These were definitely two characters who back in that game were very dominant, very high in all the tier list rankings, and Smash 4 was one of the few legal stages back in Smash 4. Thankfully in Ultimate we have so much more variety to choose from. Not that I would say that there was too much wrong with Smash 4 as a game. However, I would definitely say that Smash Ultimate is better than Smash 4. For starters, it includes basically everything Smash 4 had, with a couple of small exceptions, but Bayonetta actually used the command input side B there. That is something that I don't know if it was ever explained to the general population. I know that, especially if you never... Bayonetta does not kill Diddy Kong off the top, however. Essentially, Bayonetta's side B, if you do a command input of down, down, forward, and then the direction of the side B, you actually get the downward pointed version, which has a couple of nice benefits compared to the aerial... Not the aerial version, the non-command input version. It's a little more in depth than I'd like to go into right now. However, the biggest... Oh, they had a surprise right there. The biggest difference is, of course, the path that the kick takes. Bayonetta almost synchronizing with the music, but not quite. That is unfortunate for the musician and all of us. Gets Diddy Kong off stage, he's able to make it back. And not getting killed by up smash, he's able to kill Bayonetta with his forward smash. I would want to say that puts him in the lead, but he gets another Bayonetta combo, and she goes for a forward air, also not killing Diddy Kong. Playing around off stage all of a sudden. Diddy Kong's up smash is surprisingly just far reaching enough to hit the platform. The Smashville center platform is actually higher up than most other platforms you'll see. With, you know, obvious exceptions. There are platforms that are higher, but as far as standardized platforms above a fighter's head, the Smashville one is pretty high. This is also the hazards off version, so the platform is not going to be moving. That is something to note. Oh, Bayonetta with a great tech there, able to pull out a second Witch Twist. Gets Diddy Kong in another Bayonetta combo. I will say, as compared to last year, as compared to previous years, I should say, Bayonetta has visibly improved. I will say that the retraining session was long and arduous, but it appears to pay off. She actually made it into the tournament, and she's holding up pretty well against Diddy Kong here. Even if Diddy Kong is, I would say, in the lead, this is Smash Brothers, so nothing is ever decided. Diddy Kong, unfortunately, he used his recovery and slammed into the floor at the very end. You take recoil damage whenever your rocket barrels hit something. The bigger danger is actually if you rocket barrel into something, like a wall or a ceiling, you take the recoil damage, but you don't get put into hit stun. You get put in a special state where you cannot use your rocket barrels for a little bit. Which, if you're hitting a wall or a ceiling with your rocket barrels, that usually means you were trying to recover, and being put in a state of not being able to use your special recovery often leads to your death. Diddy Kong able to take the second stock with an up smash. things aren't looking too great for Bayonetta. In the move to Smash 4, she did lose a lot of her, well, effectively all of her insanity. She was an incredibly dominant character for more reasons than I care to cover right now. Bayonetta able to make it back. She was able to use her side B. Dancing around each other, Bayonetta catches the end of Diddy Kong's forward smash. One of the plus sides of having a multi-hit smash attack is that there are more hits for the opponent to fall into. They had a trade there, that would have actually... It wouldn't have killed Bayonetta now that I think about it, however it would have given her a lot more percentage. Forward smash up close, it's not... It doesn't break shields or anything, so Diddy Kong kind of gets off scot-free. Diddy Kong crashed into the stage there, which I know I said was bad, however he was able to hit Bayonetta with the explosion. So in that case, it's actually good for him. He tried to go for an up smash, that probably would have killed. Bayonetta isn't particularly heavy. Back air, Bayonetta barely lives that. He's able to recover. Diddy Kong goes for a forward tilt. But the back throw is what takes it. Diddy Kong wins with a life to spare. He's going to be moving on. And here we've got Roy against Kirby. Kirby Smash Bros. For anyone who doesn't know, this tournament has two Kirbys in it. You've got Kirby Smash and Kirby Classic. Looks like we're going to be on the Pokemon Stadium stage. As I talked about earlier, these platforms are higher up than the Battlefield platforms, but not quite as high as the Smashville platform. Although looking at it, I wouldn't be surprised if the measurement is actually incredibly close. I don't know actually how you would measure that sort of thing without using a character who is naturally that tall. Roy's off stage, he's able to use a forward air to stuff out Kirby's... Well, it would have been an edge guard. If he'd landed a down air, it definitely would have killed Roy. Roy's recovery mostly just goes upwards at a diagonal angle. It does mean that, combined with his good airspeed, he can usually make it from getting launched far. However, he cannot particularly make it high. Roy air dodges past the ledge, a little surprising. He also recovers past the edge, which worked out for him this time, but it can get you punished very often. I don't know why Kirby went for the hypercutter there. It couldn't have hit Roy. Even if it did, it wouldn't have thrown him far enough to be a good edge guard, or I guess that would have been a ledge trap, but Roy's a very rush-downy character. Kirby's a character who, despite having 5 jumps, usually performs better on the ground. His run speed is just faster than his aerial speed. His jumps do mean that he has an easier time in the air than a lot of other characters. However, he usually does prefer to stay grounded for the main fighting portion of the game. Kirby going for an entire up smash. I would have just settled for a back throw, but apparently Roy had just enough end lag to get hit by it. Forward smash, that's gonna kill Kirby. Kirby's light character and Roy's smash attacks are much stronger when you hit with the hilt of the blade. You can actually see that detail in the design of his sword hit effects, like the little lines that come out whenever he swings his sword. They got a trade there, but Kirby traded with the forward smash, so he got the better end of that bargain. Up throw, not going to kill Roy for probably another 30 or 40%. Kirby should go for an edge guard here. Okay, he actually got the hypercutter to do something, but it basically reset Roy, and he gets a back air. So he's only 48% behind. Definitely doable. However, a little difficult, especially against a character like Roy who can kill you out of what feels like effectively nowhere. Oh, Kirby's getting an edge guard, gets a down air spike! He saves Roy with an up air, but he doesn't actually save Roy with the up air. Despite the tug of war with himself, Kirby's able to pull it out in the end. And we're back with Bowser against Mii Gunner. So like we're going to be on Pokemon Stadium. I did say this is a tournament viable stage list. However, there are more than one tournament in existence. So I went with what is effectively the safest tournament stage list you can find. And as a result, there's only about 5 stages on it. So we're going to be seeing these stages quite a bit. That's just how it goes, though. Bowser able to hit the very end of that air dodge with the dash attack. The amiibo seem to have broken there for a second. Thankfully, they've resolved it. And Bowser's dash attack is probably one of his worst moves. Possibly even the worst. You normally only use it when you just need to throw out a hitbox as fast as you can. All of his other moves have so many more perks to them, either more damage, more knockback, usually both, to be honest. I don't ever see Bowser killing with his dash attack. His moves have armor, in addition to Bowser's normal armor that he has, and some of his moves even have varying levels of invincibility on them. Mii Gunner finally throwing out a projectile from a good range. If there's been one before in this match, I haven't seen it. Mii Gunner is, of course, a gunner character, so you're going to have a lot of projectiles and excel at range. It is a little bit difficult to teach the amiibo to do that, especially because if you do, then you often end up with an amiibo that doesn't know how to kill its opponents. Mii Gunner's got Bowser off stage, and just sort of jumps after him. Getting a grounded spike, even if it didn't get the right hitbox. However, the back air was actually able to kill Bowser. However, it did take a good 15 or 20 seconds when most other players would not need that long to kill after a ledge trap like that. These amiibo, of course, are not people. That is always the trade-off you get. Bowser just hanging out on these platforms. He really needs to get down. He's finally gotten down off the platform after taking about 50%, and then he used the dash attack, which I explicitly talked about earlier not being a great move. You would think the dash attack would actually be good because Bowser has one of the fastest run speeds in the game. But it turns out if you have one of the fastest run speeds, then you get a lot more choice in which move you get to use when you're done dashing. The other use dash attacks have is that a lot of them come out quick, and there's a controller trick where you effectively flip the joysticks in opposite directions to get an instant dash attack. But Bowser's is not quite fast enough for that to be incredibly useful, especially since it is one of his worst moves. You'd usually rather go for any other move instead. Only one hit of the up smash connecting on Bowser there. The up smash multi-hits will chain the opponent into the next hitbox. However, if they're grounded on a platform, it won't pull them into the next hitbox. And if they're not grounded, there still is a really good chance they will land on the platform. Playing around off stage, Mii Gunner finally got a kill with the up special recovery. That is something to know. It does have a hitbox on it. There is... Since the Miis all have 3 different variations, there is a variation with a spiking hitbox. However, I had to decide that the amiibo would get more use out of the longer recovery than trying to go for an up special spike. Bowser not able to combo out of up throw. This isn't Smash 4 anymore. Gets an up tilt. Mii Brawler not hitting the blast zone, but getting pretty close with that jump. Getting Bowser off stage, Bowser's able to recover, and he rolls through the ledge trap, and now they're just playing off stage, getting a Phantom Footstool in there. A Phantom Footstool is a footstool, but the opponent does not get put in the footstool-ing, getting the footstool animation, usually because they're doing another animation that can't be interrupted by being footstooled. Mii Gunner not going for a forward air there, actually getting footstool on Bowser, but is not able to combo it into the hitbox from the up smash. Most characters can't particularly do that in this game. In previous Smash Bros. Games, it was a lot more common. One of the things that actually changed that is in Smash Ultimate, most jumps jump faster, and a forward air is able to close it out for Bowser. Next up, we have Min Min against Robin. Two characters who actually rhyme, which I was not expecting. It's a slant rhyme, I guess, because it doesn't have two syllables that rhyme, but that's hardly the most important matters we have on our hands. Now, it does look like we got Battlefield. That's a little bit worse for Min Min because all of her attacks hit incredibly long, but not incredibly high. Robin is a character with a lot of long-range projectiles. Well, I say that by a lot, I guess I just mean two. But they're very important projectiles. So I would say that Robin's probably going to have a hard time using them, just because Min Min's arms hit harder. However, Robin definitely has a much stronger aerial game, especially when you have the Levin sword. It's the electric-powered, jaggedy one you can see. Now, it does have durability, so Robin actually just barely lost it, but it actually charges back pretty quick. And it's actually good for everyone who isn't Robin that the sword has a charging cooldown, specifically because the strength of the sword is kind of like having aerial smash attacks. When you use the airborne version, of course. When you're using the grounded version, you just have grounded smash attacks. But it also means that they hit harder than most other smash attacks out there. So when you don't have the sword, your aerials become normalized, and your smash attacks, they do actually become really hard to kill with. However, normally you just need to wait for about 8 seconds or so until you get your sword back and then kill the opponent. Actually, hitting Min Min with the discarded sword, when you do lose your sword or any of your tomes, it does become a throwable object, which does mean if you're fast enough, you can actually grab it and start playing around with it, throwing at your opponent. Robin is just burning through the L-Fire tome. The 3-hit jab instead of the rapid fire uses your L-Fire tome, which uses your side B. And by doing that repeatedly, Robin really just succeeded in using a lot of L-Fire charges. Min Min hangs around for a little bit too long to be safe, somehow makes it out with her life, and actually gets the kill on Robin too. Color me surprised. Or I guess in this case, color me pink, because both of these characters were given pink skins. They were given pink by me, by the way, so I guess I have a very strong habit of giving certain characters pink skins. Robin goes way down too low. Thankfully, for Robin at least, not getting hit by any sort of stray attack. I don't know if that'll show up in the recording, but Min Min just sort of vibrated in place for a second. The amiibo do often use weird movement techniques, since they are, well, they're running off of the machine. They don't have to worry about human levels of execution. So if you dash dance around them a lot, they do have a tendency to pick that up. This goes for all the AI in the game, like level 9 computers, and to an extent, even down to level 1 computers. Any sort of fighter character, they do try to adapt a little bit based off of what the human players are doing. But as a result, that means that they've learned to dash dance sometimes, except that they do it optimally. So the very moment they can turn around, they do, and it's very... they don't mess it up. I'll say that. Min Min tries to get a kill off of Robin, actually able to hit her back off stage. Min Min just keeps going too far off stage. She does have, well, long-reaching tilts and smash attacks, and even her forward air reach is really long. She doesn't need to go off the ledge to use that. She can just do a full hop and then kill you for it. Both characters seem to be playing around at the ledge again. Min Min was sent off. Her recovery is going to be able to reach that. You could see there Robin actually used an aerial with the Levin sword. At that moment, it didn't quite kill Min Min. However, with an extra 10 or 15%, it definitely would have. A very great spike from Robin right there. Needs to avoid getting killed by Min Min for the time being. However, Min Min currently has the Megawatt arm, or the arm that kills. Back throw apparently is going to do it instead. It was at 120% at the ledge. Great parry. That's not normally something you go for against Min Min, because when she is throwing out an arm, she can actually throw out her other arm as well, which in retrospect makes sense because you have two arms. However, it's a problem for Min Min because her arms reach so long. Min Min grabbing the sword, throwing it at Robin. You're not going to see the amiibo do that too much. You actually won't see humans do it too much either. Sometimes Robin players will do it when they just want something that they can throw, but it does require your tome going on a cooldown. That being said, intentionally putting your tome on a cooldown in a moment when you know you don't need it so that you will have it for later is definitely a valid strategy. For example, right now, Robin has, I would guess, one up special out of the Elwind tome left, which means if you try to recover and you get hit out of it, you will not have a second recovery. And we might be seeing that right here. Oh, Robin actually had two uses. I got that way wrong. Although something to note is that if you run out of the tome halfway through your Elwind, you don't get the second Crescent of Wind to come out, which does reduce the length of your recovery. And there we have the aerial smash attack, finishing off Min Min for the win. Robin's going to be moving on. And for the last match of this video and this half of the bracket, we have Dr. Mario against Stever. Yes, that's right, Stever. We have more than one Steve here. They needed to get names to differentiate themselves. So we have Steve, Stever, and if they ever make a third Steve amiibo for who knows why, then we'll have a Stevist. We actually do have two Steve amiibos specifically because they manufactured a Steve amiibo and an Alex amiibo. It's Steve's second player skin in Smash Ultimate. That being said, after looking at the amiibo, the only difference is the coloration of them. I would expect that it was probably part of the deal with Microsoft that a second amiibo would be made, because the more amiibos you make, the more amiibos you can sell, and the more money you can make. If there's one thing we know about Microsoft, they like money. It's actually most companies nowadays. Stever making iron tools, possibly getting edge-guarded. Dr. Mario actually doing a good amount of mashing for his down B, the Dr. Tornado. If you mash it enough times, you actually get additional distance off of it. Anvil not going to kill Dr. Mario yet. It's a very strong move, no matter when it hits you. Up special actually not connecting. That's going to get Stever back thrown. Dr. Mario taking the first stock. Stever going for gold weaponry. It is better than gold, however, it does break a lot faster. And it's not as hard hitting as most of the other weaponry. In fact, I don't even know if it does more damage, at least on average, than gold, but I do know it comes out faster. Oh, Dr. Mario trying to reflect that minecart way too late. And jumping into that anvil. Unfortunate for Dr. Mario lovers. But fortunate for Minecraft lovers, but also unfortunate for people who like anvils. Steve does not respect the utility of an anvil, instead choosing to throw them around. Steve going for the down throw there. It's supposed to be a good move. What I've noticed about it is that it does leave your opponent in a slightly more advantageous position, but it does cost an iron to use. So usually you'd like to save that iron for other things, such as down airs. It's almost always down airs. Like that. Because down air is a really good move, and down throw is a okay throw. It's a fine throw, maybe it's even better than average, but unless you have a lot of iron, you usually want to save it for other things. Especially because iron is the resource that Steve usually runs out of the fastest. Use it for minecarts, use it if you ever pull down a dynamite. which the amiibo doesn't seem to be doing. It's most useful in a ledge trap scenario, which the amiibo always has a weird time recognizing. That's gonna kill Steve right at the ledge. Dr. Mario's gonna be making it on. That just about does it for this video. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you enjoy the future parts of the tournament, which should be coming out soon, depending on when you're watching this.